Who messes with the Saints?
I do.
No one!
I said, who messes with the Saints?
No one!
You're goddamn right, no one. The Saints aren't a flash in the pan. We're here to stay.
Yeah! Woo!
Saints Row
is a reboot of the open-world action humorous adventure similar to GTA or Just Cause series.
By the way, this is a video sponsored by Deep Silver Volition that provided a game key to us, and thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
So the story is about the birth of the famous street gang, the Saints. You start with a character who's a member of one of the main factions in the city who happens to be roommates with people who are members of other gangs in the city. You all get kicked out for one reason or another and decide to start your own epic gang, which has lots of future potential, but also makes enemies of all the other gangs right from the beginning of the game.
And after the introduction to the story, you start building your own criminal empire, taking over the whole city block by block and fight with the enemy factions. The city, Santo Ileso, is the biggest in the franchise yet, but it's not limited to city only. There are 9 unique districts surrounded by a vast desert that you can also explore.
And to cover all of that territory, there is a huge range of vehicles.
There are cars,
Bikes,
trucks,
boats,
tanks,
planes,
helicopters,
hover bikes.
and once you unlock a wingsuit, you can jump out of the building and fly to the car, and from the car to people. It's a little bit crazy.
Speaking of crazy, there is a crazy level of customization in this game for many things, but most of all for the playing character. It probably has the deepest system for character customization I have ever seen in a game. It allows you to adjust every little detail to an insane degree to create a character that maybe looks exactly like you or that is as weird as possible. And at any point in the game, you can just pull out your in-game cell phone and completely change your appearance however you want.
And there are just so many clothes you can get to any store. Each one has a different type of clothes. There's also tattoo stores, so many different of them, and you can change even your socks, rings, and you can have an augmented arm, for example.
I probably spent more time than anything else in this game just trying to increase my collection of cars and customize them, because right from the beginning you can steal any car you want. There's a huge variety, and then once you get them to your garage you can customize the colors, the decals, put more skills on them and really make them your own. So I felt like I was a car collector.
And there's also a wide variety of weapons, from shotguns to sniper rifles, rocket launchers, and each one you can get certain or unlock certain skins, so it looks a little bit crazy, but they are more realistic though.
Once you get to the point of having your own gang, you can even customize the uniform and the weapons and the vehicles that your gang uses.
And once you get your new base, the church, then you can customize certain things on it. You can find certain statues on the map, and when you shoot them with your photograph mode, you can then put it to your base.
So this is a lot of different things that you can play with and customize, but what do you do with all of these objects? Let's talk about missions, because there's main missions and side missions.
A lot of them.
A lot of side missions. Pretty quickly the map is absolutely full of all the things that you could do to make some extra money to move the story forward. I do recommend not getting too distracted by the side missions until you unlock your base, because that's when the game really starts and where the money starts to be useful. The main story missions are some of the craziest ones. Right from the beginning, for example, you have to use some construction equipment to destroy a construction site to be able to get your new base, and it's kind of fun running around with a tractor knocking over buildings.
And in most of the missions you're going to be shooting, and you're going to be shooting a lot. There's not a cover system. You can crouch, you can jump, you can evade, but mostly you're going to be standing or running and shooting at enemies, and sometimes they take a lot of bullets until they die, even if you shoot them into the head, because sometimes they have armor.
You can also take a ridiculous number of bullets. Realism is not the goal of this game. It's all over the top. That's not a mistake. That is the goal of the game, and we're going to talk more about that in the Should You Play It section of this review.
And you can also change from 5 difficulty settings, change it as you go, and even change each difficulty element according to your own playstyle.
And one of the main goals of the game is to build your criminal empire, and you have a map of the whole city. You can choose different districts to build your own businesses that are actually fronts for criminal ventures. You have to protect those businesses, you have to grow them, slowly expand your influence over the city, and in the end, not be only your own boss, but to be the boss of all of Santo Ileso.
And there's also a multiplayer, a co-op one that allows you to drop in and drop out at any time during the whole story, so you can play with a friend or continue alone.
So I think that covers what this game is all about. That brings us to, should you play it? But first, especially viewers of our channel should know that this game is not a free game. Usually on our channel, we review all the free games, especially from the Epic Game Store. This is a new release, but if you want more information about big, exciting games and free games, this might be the time to subscribe.
So I have to say I'm a fan of the franchise. I've played all the previous titles, and I think this one is better in almost every way. It's bigger, it's more customizable, there is so much more side missions and destructible environment, including cars, even though that still doesn't affect the control of them properly. Sure. But you really need to set your mind into the fact that this is a super unrealistic arcadey game, and if you don't mind that, I think you are going to like it, especially as a fan of the franchise. So it's a yes from me.
So I basically hadn't played any of the Saints Row games, and I think what you said about the right expectations is really important, because I went in with the wrong expectations, and there will be a lot of comparison between Saints Row and games like GTA or Watch Dogs, and that's understandable because a lot of the activities and the layout of the city, the feeling of the game is really similar. It kind of gave me like GTA vibes, but it's not trying to be any of those games, and that's important. Like as you said, for better or worse, this game is not taking itself very seriously, and it just wants to be a sandbox of over-the-top action. It's not trying to be too realistic or deep, which won't be a surprise to anyone who knows the series. So when it says it's a reboot, it's not a reboot like God of War with a more serious story and style. This is going back to its roots of the Saints Row series. So once I realized that, I had a really great time. Now, there are definitely things that I was not a fan of. I think the graphics could definitely be better in 2022. The fact that there are no interior locations that you can explore continued to annoy me through most of the game, because there were interesting buildings that I wanted to explore and you can't really go inside. And my type of game is not really arcadey action. However, once you accept that it's just like crazy fun, then it's really entertaining. But you have to accept that you are kind of superhuman from the very beginning. There's not a lot of progression. It felt like end game content almost right from the beginning, because there's no obstacles to having just wild action scenes and lots of fun. So fans of this series, I'm pretty sure, will definitely be pleased. If you're on the fence and you're wondering if this is the game to start the Saints Row franchise, the question is, are you looking for a fun, over-the-top sandbox that doesn't take itself too seriously? If so, then Saints Row is your game. And once I got that idea, I really enjoyed my time with it. So it is a yes from me as well.
So the Saints Row is now out on PC, Epic exclusive, at least for 1 year, PlayStation and Xbox, of course, and you can click the link in the description or go to saintsrow.com to buy the game.
And as a little bonus at the end, if you want to get a feeling for the customization power of this game, the Boss Factory is free, and that's where you create your own playable character. So give it a try. There will be a link in the description for that as well, and then describe the character that you created in the comments of this video.
Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.